They don't want you to know this about women, and if you're a man watching this, you might feel shock, anger, or even relief. Stay with me, because the truth waiting at the end will make you see love, respect, and yourself in a way you've never dared to before. Alan Watts once said, "When you try to control life, you lose it. When you let it flow, you keep it." But what most men don't realize is that in relationships, trying to control love, especially through overinvestment, is the fastest way to lose respect. Here's the uncomfortable reality. Many men lose a woman's respect not because they don't love her enough, but because they love her too much in the wrong way. I've lived this. I've been the man who poured endless attention, time, and energy into a relationship, thinking it would make her feel secure. Instead, I watched her interest fade, her respect drop, and her attraction die. The truth? A woman does not lose respect because you love her. She loses respect when your love becomes self-abandonment. This is where Alan Watts's wisdom cuts deep. Watts understood that attachment disguised as love is no longer love. It's dependency, and dependency erodes respect faster than betrayal. Here's the dark reason women lose respect for men who love them too much. It's not that the love is too much, it's that the man's center is too little. A man who makes a woman the core of his identity shifts from being the man she admired to becoming a man who orbits her. And women are not built to respect men who orbit them. This is why Watts' perspective matters here. He saw that love in its highest form is rooted in freedom, not control. When a man's love becomes a constant attempt to hold on, reassure, or prove himself, it stops being love and starts being a plea for stability. And women feel this instantly. They may not say it out loud, but their instincts respond. I've seen this in my own life, and I've seen it in men who come to me wondering why everything changed. They think they're showing loyalty. What they're actually showing is that their emotional stability now depends on her staying. And that's when respect begins to slip away. Watts would tell you, when you cling to something, you choke it. Let it breathe, and it thrives. The same is true in relationships. The man who can love fully without losing himself is the man who keeps her respect. The man who can't will watch her respect drain away no matter how much love he gives. Here's the first mistake men make, and it's the one that guarantees a slow collapse of respect. They believe that the more love they show, the more love they'll receive. They think that constant proof of loyalty will make a woman feel secure. But here's the frame breaker most men never see. Women don't respect you more because you give more. They respect you more when your love costs something. Alan Watts often spoke about the paradox of value. He said that what is always available is rarely appreciated, and what is freely given without condition is rarely valued. And this is where modern men get destroyed. They think making themselves constantly available is proof of commitment. But to a woman's instincts, constant availability signals something else entirely, that you have nothing more important to do. I've lived this. In relationships where I poured every ounce of my attention into her, I thought I was giving her security. Instead, I was communicating that her moods, her approval, and her presence dictated my worth. From an evolutionary psychology perspective, this instinct runs deep. Women have always been wired to seek a man whose strength and stability extend beyond her. A man who rearranges his life entirely around her is, on a subconscious level, less desirable because he no longer represents strength independent of her presence. And this is why she loses respect. Not because she doesn't value love, but because she instinctively knows that a man who abandons himself for her cannot lead her. Watts framed it another way. You cannot hold the river still, you can only move with it. When a man tries to lock in respect by loving more, by proving himself endlessly, he's trying to hold the river still. And she feels it. She feels the current stop moving. And with it, the attraction. This is the part that will blow up the comments. Men often say, "I gave her everything." But that's the problem. When you give her everything, there's nothing left of you for her to respect. A man's love becomes powerful when it is balanced by self-respect. A man's love loses power when it is driven by fear of losing her. Watts saw love as a dance, not a cage. And in that dance, respect grows only when the man continues moving with his own rhythm, not just hers. This is the paradox men have to face. You can love her deeply, but the moment that love starts erasing you, the respect you're fighting for starts to vanish. Here's the second mistake, and this one will make the comment section explode. Men believe that if a woman encourages their constant love, it means she values it. They think her wanting more time, more reassurance, more attention, is proof that she respects it. But here's the reality. Schopenhauer, Jung, and yes, even Alan Watts would quietly agree on. Some women encourage overlove not because they respect it, but because they want to see how far they can stretch it. I've seen this firsthand. I've been with women who said they valued my constant presence, only to slowly lose attraction once they had it completely. And I've watched other men destroy themselves the same way. This is where the toxic woman warning becomes clear. A grounded woman values love when it's balanced with self-respect. But a toxic woman will use your overlove as a tool, a way to test your boundaries, your patience, and ultimately, your identity. Here's the subtle trap. She may not even be doing it consciously, but her subconscious knows that a man whose life now revolves around her is a man she can control. And control, in this context, is the beginning of lost respect. Alan Watts spoke often about the nature of control, how clinging creates the very instability you fear. In relationships, a toxic woman's testing isn't about stability at all. It's about seeing if your love is strong enough to stand on its own, or if it's just a form of dependency. I've seen men fail here over and over. They mistake constant sacrifice for strength, but what they're actually showing is that their self-worth has been outsourced to her reaction. And here's the brutal truth. Once a toxic woman senses that, the dynamic shifts. She will push harder, she will demand more, and she will respect you less each time you bend to meet her demands. This is why some men wake up years later feeling hollow. They thought their devotion was building the relationship, but in reality it was eroding the foundation of respect. Watts' wisdom applies here too. When you cling, you choke. When you hold loosely, you let things live. In love, holding loosely doesn't mean neglect. It means you love her without letting that love erase who you are. The wrong woman will always push to see if she can erase you. The right man will never let her succeed. And that's why this truth stings, because it forces you to stop blaming her for losing respect and start asking how much of it you gave away. Alan Watts often said that love is like holding sand in your hand. Grip too tightly and it slips away. Hold too loosely and it drifts. The balance is what keeps it alive. This is exactly where most men fail, and where the respect disappears. They don't understand the natural tension between masculine and feminine. The feminine tests, the masculine holds. But holding doesn't mean clinging. And it doesn't mean distancing yourself into cold detachment either. It means standing steady in your life, even as you open yourself to hers. This is where most men collapse. They think love should eliminate tension. They think if she tests less, it means they're doing everything right. But Watts would remind you, it is in the tension that the music exists. The masculine's role isn't to avoid tension, it's to meet it with steadiness. And this is where emotional tone mastery becomes critical. A man who masters his tone can love fully without slipping into approval seeking. He can show warmth without giving away his entire frame. He can set boundaries without hostility. This balance comes from practice. Here are 5 tools I've used to love deeply without losing respect. 1. The pause. When emotions rise, don't react instantly. A steady man doesn't scramble to prove himself. 2. The redirect. Bring focus back to what matters. I hear you. Let's look at what we're actually building. 3. The boundary frame. Set limits without anger. I don't accept that. If it continues, I'll make adjustments. 4. The scarcity anchor. Live in a way where your time and presence are valuable because you're building a life beyond her. 5. The consistency signal. Your behavior doesn't shift based on her moods. She learns that your love is steady because you are steady. This is the difference between overloving and strong loving. Overloving is frantic. It's based in fear. Strong loving is rooted. It's based in presence. Watts' wisdom reminds us. Love that is given from fear will always lose respect. Love that is given from strength will always grow it. Alan Watts didn't speak about love to make it comfortable. He spoke about love to make it real. And here's the truth that will make this video explode in the comments. Women do not lose respect for men because they love them. They lose respect when a man's love becomes proof that he has nothing else holding him up. Watts understood the paradox, that love must be free to have any life in it. The moment a man's love becomes a constant attempt to hold on, he is no longer loving. He is clinging. And clinging is what kills respect. I've lived both sides of this. I've been the man who overloved from fear, and I've watched respect vanish quietly, even in the presence of devotion. And I've been the man who loved from strength, and I've seen respect deepen, even in the presence of tension. The difference isn't the amount of love. It's where that love comes from. Watts would tell you, when you let go, you are not abandoning. You are allowing life to breathe. The man who can love fully without erasing himself becomes the man she respects for a lifetime. The man who cannot will watch his love turn into a plea she can't respect, no matter how much of it he gives. The dark reason women lose respect for men who love them too much isn't because women are cruel. It's because respect cannot survive when love comes at the cost of a man's center. And that's the truth men don't want to hear. If this shifted something in you, like the video to anchor it. Subscribe if you're done fighting the wrong way and ready to lead with calm strength. And if you know a man who needs to hear this, send it to him. This is Depthoria, for men who choose emotional intelligence over chaos. We'll see you in the next depth.